let's just say hypothetically you end up winning governor that year. What would you have done or implemented that J.B. Pritzker has not?
That's a loaded question, and I think I've got some pretty sufficient answers for you. And I say that it's loaded because people are going to believe me to be extreme, and that's okay, because I believe what's happening in this country is extreme.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the most overlooked issue here in the state of Illinois, like many other states, that our government is not being properly monitored and held accountable. The lack of transparency and the one-sided, heavy-handed nature with which government treats its people is something that I believe bears tougher solutions. One of those being that the judiciary in Illinois, like other states, is completely unmonitored. They are self-monitored. They are self-policed by the Judicial Inquiry Board, by the Attorney Review Disciplinary Commission, known as the ARDC here in Illinois. And truth be told, there is little to no accountability whatsoever. And why? Because you have literally the wolves guarding the hen house. And something that I would have liked to have seen implemented would have been constitutional training for the entire Illinois National Guard, an immediate implementation and training pipeline to ensure that all National Guard members in the state of Illinois became, in essence, experts on the Constitution. And why? How do we defend this nation against the domestic enemies within the state government that has literally been terrorizing its citizens because of our own ignorance? We do not know the Constitution. And I would have wanted those Guard members then I would have sent them into the courthouses in uniform to record and observe all judicial proceedings, to document what's transpiring, to document and find out on a very real level just how systemic is the corruption and the violation of basic due process rights. And I mean basic ones. I'm not talking about complex issues here. I'm talking about simple things like a motion, a notice of a motion, knowing if there's going to be a hearing that's going to transpire that could possibly sever contact between a parent and a child. I mean, Christ, we have associate judges in the state of Illinois, and this happens in many states. They are appointed. Who are they appointed by? By the judges in the courthouse. Their peers, their seniors are appointing them to positions and then levying them with the power and the authority to literally take your children.
And do they have do they have term limits there in Illinois? What's the
for governor?
No, I mean, I'm sorry, for judges? For judges, yeah.
Oh no, I don't believe so. I don't believe that they do. I don't believe that they do. And so that might sound very radical to people, that I would actually train the National Guard on the Constitution, have constitutional experts come in and develop a curriculum and a course to train all of them in, but also into the education system on a statewide level. Because oftentimes the victimization at the hands of the state is due to our own ignorance about our very own rights and the healthy, very lawful assertion of those rights. We are taught and indoctrinated in school through the public education system that has largely been controlled and infiltrated by, I believe, leftists, in my own personal opinion. I believe that the teachers' unions in the state of Illinois, like many other teachers' unions, is governed and ran by a Marxist, socialist, communist agenda. And it amounts to an indoctrination and an ownership that the state is taking of our children. We saw this with COVID. We see this now with the LGBTQ movement. We see this with how parents choose to parent and raise their children. You have a fundamental human right to raise your children and instill in them the belief systems, the ideas, the philosophies, the virtues that you as a parent find important, and to help nurture them into becoming productive, law-abiding citizens in this country that are willing to fight to defend the weak. I think these are ideals that most Americans and human beings share, is to, as fathers, we want to instill in our boys especially, defend the weak, stand up for those who don't have a voice. Being courageous requires our children and ourselves to demonstrate, in the presence of a very real fear, the virtue of courage. And courage, a lot of times, is saying something and speaking up on something when you see that it's wrong. But in the state of Illinois, like many other states, if you speak up against a judge, especially one who has the ability to restrict and prevent you from seeing your children, you're talking about something extremely powerful, my friend.